So in this letter, he said, quote, I am a very racist white man, and with Mr. Trump in the White House being president, white people going to take over the world. In total, 6 letters were sent, including describing violent acts like rape and murder. Turns out that the black man who sent all these letters has confessed. Hey, do you remember that 21-year-old college student, the Pakistani? He was walking down the street and a black van pulled up. 3 men wearing ski masks pulled him inside. They punched him. They took his wallet. They yelled at him, quote, "Get out of my country." And then he admitted to police that it never happened. And there was also that cafe that was vandalized, destroyed. There was swastikas all over the walls, terrible things about Jews. Quote, the most brazen anti-Semitic attack in Winnipeg's history. And now, all 3 Jewish family members who own that cafe are under arrest. Hey, check out this photo. This is one of the Jews. He's at a home improvement store buying the things that he needs to vandalize his cafe. Just before the 2018 elections in Chicago Uptown, there was swastikas drawn all over the neighborhood. And it turns out they got the guy, Jewish Heath Levy, sentenced to over 150 days. And then there was that time when the Petersburg City Council was under threats from, quote, a redneck who made racist threats to the mayor and other city officials. Turns out it was the city attorney on his own burner cell phone calling them in. Oh, man. These are my favorite kind of political stories. And down at Chesterfield, at a high school of all places, there was some evil person. They wrote, "White Lives Matter." And then you can see there's another word there on the mirror. It starts with N-I. It's cut off in the photo. And the superintendent tells us, quote, the student responsible is not white. However, this does not diminish the hurt it caused or the negative impact it had on our community. Oh, well, thank you, Superintendent. It's good to know that false things attributed to white people are just as harmful as actual evil white people. Here's the deal. If next year, 2020, no white person in the whole world performed any hateful act, if no white person was rude or mean to any non-white next year, if every white person in the world behaved exactly like the media tells us to, we would still be swamped with news stories about hateful white people, white supremacy, and hate crimes. Politicians would still be going up there saying we need a war on white nationalism. You can see white people aren't accused of being bad because we do bad things. White people are accused of being bad because we're white. How else could you explain how the least racially focused group is constantly demonized for their supposed racism? You can't say that the constant hate against whites has to do with our actions when nearly our entire race is in denial about the existence and importance of race. We attempt to live our lives pretending like race doesn't matter, like we're all the same. And as stupid as that is, that's what we do. And it seems like a lot of white people think that they're not going to be called racist if they ignore race, if they don't see race, if they just treat people based off of their merit. But white people aren't blanketly called racist by politicians and whoever because they're doing racist things collectively. On a collective scale, we're not even close. We're the least racist group. We're called racist because they don't like you. They don't like you because you're white. At the end of the day, the media has a story to tell. They have a narrative, and they will do anything to get that narrative in the heads of impressionable people. If they need to lie about whites being evil, they will. So while you constantly hear about some evil white person doing something bad, do you remember those few weeks when they were harping about this black man who had killed a half dozen white people for their race? Well, of course you don't remember it because they didn't harp on it. If a white guy had gone around specifically killing blacks, would you have heard about it? You're damn right you would have. You would still be hearing about it today. We're still hearing about Michael Brown, and he was a criminal. So on BART, that's the Bay Area Rapid Transit, they have this footage that they're not releasing of black mobs attacking white people. So why are they withholding that? If it were white mobs targeting black people, do you think the media would do absolutely everything in their power to get their hands on that video so they could plaster it all over the news? You know what? If they couldn't get that video, they may even make a dramatization showing white actors beating up black actors. They're a narrative machine. They're not here to inform you. They're here to mold what you believe. If you think we should be able to record and archive history in an honest way, you are a disgusting, evil, right-wing Nazi. Do you understand? You don't want the media to have complete control over all information and thoughts of the public. You are a bad apple, and if they could, they'd get rid of you. That's why journalists are freaking out. Their entire work is public, and they're very angry and upset that people are keeping track of that work. But if you make a meme like that one guy did, they'll try and find out who you are and ruin your life. Now, if you remember that situation, that was just some guy. He took some old footage from Trump professional wrestling crossover deal, and they put the CNN logo over Trump beating some guy up. So this guy who made the meme, he's not a public figure like a high-profile journalist or someone who holds political office. No, they just found out who this anonymous guy was and threatened him. And they're afraid of their own public past being recorded. They don't want to treat you like how they want to be treated. They want to do what they want to you, and they want to make sure that you can never treat them that way. That's why they don't want you recording what they're publicly releasing. Because remember, the recording that you hold isn't in their hands. They can't add to it, remove from it, or edit it. If you pick up a history book that they didn't write or publish, they're pissed off. If they get to be the publisher, they're able to review the contents and make sure it's kosher before it gets printed. We've seen a ton of YouTube channels get destroyed recently. James Alsop, American Krogan, even Bombard's Body Language, which was just some lady playing clips of people talking about what she thinks their body language says. I'm guessing some things just aren't allowed to be discussed. We're probably not allowed to criticize everyone's body language. She probably criticized the wrong ADL official. If you don't know, the ADL, it's a pro-Jewish organization. They've been part of this big push to have wrongthink removed from YouTube. I haven't watched all the channels that have gotten removed. For one, the list is growing kind of quickly. I'm just reading online about some of the more recent deletions. And, well, I'm probably just too small to notice. But as they work their way down their list of evil white men who are opening their mouths, they might reach me eventually. I'm on Twitter for now. I'm also on Gab and BitChute. So if you like what I have to say, or even if you don't and you just want to argue with me, you can subscribe to me here, but also I'm on Twitter for now. I'm also on Gab and BitChute, and at least for now, those platforms seem to be, tolerant of free speech. But of course, at one point, YouTube was also like that, so we'll see how long everything lasts. I'm hoping to make more content in the future. I'm planning on uploading every weekend, every Saturday, hopefully. And I hope to make the kind of content that you might be able to show to a friend and convince them of something.